It's officially time to get ready for the playoffs. Welcome back to the Mafia Minute. I am Magnum Mills, flying solo on this one as Jamie G is doing a New Year's Eve thing, but it shouldn't be that hard to wrap up the victory over the Jets in Week 17. Thank you very much for checking out the Mafia Minute presented by Caesar Gap Fantasy Football. You can find our show wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Find us on social media at Caesar Gap FF and on the internet at mafiaminute.com. Very simple and easy to remember, just like the flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had fun, please make sure that you've hit the thumb. We're going to kick things off with a little Bills on Parade, the latest news and whatnot that's not necessarily related to the game review. Not a ton here. We need to shout out the Bills for completing the perfect season at home. That is 8-0, the first time they have gone undefeated at home since 1990, third time overall in franchise history. And Josh Allen set some more records. Big surprise there. With the win, he passed Russell Wilson for the most wins by a quarterback in his first 7 seasons. That was number 76. And with his rushing touchdown, Josh tied Thurman Thomas with 65 career rushing touchdowns. That's the most in franchise history right now. Good for you, Scooby-Doo. Not too much other than that. We'll get into the playoffs soon enough, but it's going to be on to New England. But until then, we need to satisfy ourselves with the game review from the win over the Jets. We're going to start off with the injury report and thank the makers. This one looks pretty solid. Damar Hamlin missed the game with that ribs injury, as did Curtis Samuel with the shoulder. Both were questionable going in, limited practice all week. I don't think they will be playing in week 18, but it sounds like they could be full go for the playoffs. Didn't really pick up any new injuries of note during the game. So idea is going to just try to get everybody into the playoffs healthy as possible. That's about as good of a situation as we could possibly hope for. Let's move on to the final score prediction results. Not too shabby here. Jamie G went big. He said Buffalo was going to win 31-19, and they came fairly close here. Very good, Jamie G. That's, I think, the best one so far this year, if not the best, very close. So good job. We'll see if we can keep it up in week 18 and beyond. Now it's time to grade the keys. You know my keys. These were Jamie G's keys to victory for week 17. I got the grades. We're going to see how we did on these. Key number one was to make sure it was just another day at the office. Don't fall behind. Don't commit any stupid penalties. Do what you're supposed to do. Take care of business. Put the game out of reach early. Big pass here. The Bills did everything they needed to do. Really hard to poke many holes in the overall performance in any phase of the game. So good for them. They got up early. This one was never really in question. Jets only got on the board with some garbage time points. Key number two is to make Aaron Rodgers feel his age. Man, this might have been one of the worst games he played in his NFL career. He got the hook for Tyrod Taylor, so this is absolutely another pass. Jeff got a couple of first downs on that opening drive, but after that, the Bills turned him over on 4th down, and that was pretty much that. You know, the next drive, boom, they have the safety, and then you get a couple picks, and just that's that. I mean, he got pulled for Tyrod Taylor. It is what it is. He's very well playing the final game of his career in Week 18. Pretty wild. And then the final key number 3 was that if we're going to have a vanilla game plan, then you have to execute that vanilla game plan. Again, it has to be a pass here. Did everything they had to do. You didn't really need a lot of trickery. They just went straight forward. They ran the ball. They did what they have to do. The Bills came out well here. They had the touchdown on the opening drive, but they did sputter a little bit, only scored on one of their other 3 first half drives there. They came out of halftime, you know, they punted on that first possession in the second half, but then they scored touchdowns on their next 4 consecutive drives. So that was literally all they needed. 0 turnovers. Jets turned it over 3 times, doing what you got to do there. And the Bills were penalized 7 times for 60 yards. Not the greatest, but the Jets were penalized 16 times for 120 yards. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is terrible. Now we're going to have to review our results when we were coming in hot with our predictions for a week 17. We do these Buffalo Wing style. We have a mild prediction, a medium prediction, and a hot one. The mild prediction was that we would get a defensive combo meal. We were saying the defense would force at least 1 turnover and have 3 or more sacks. This is a nice pass right here. 3 turnovers, 4 sacks, exceeded our expectations. So that was a good prediction. For our medium prediction, we said James Cook was going to carry fantasy owners to a championship. James Cook did not have a bad game. but we were looking for 100 yards and a touchdown. Did not quite get there. He had the touchdown, 15 carries for 53 yards and the touchdown. Not terrible, but did not have a catch, so didn't help you out the way you were looking for in PPR league. So that is going to be a light fail, but he didn't kill you. He was not the reason you lost your fantasy championship, but he wasn't the reason that you won it either. And then our hot prediction was that the Bills would hold the Jets under 10 points. And again, by the technical letter of the law, this was a fail because the Jets did get there, but it was all garbage time. Both touchdowns were off the hand legs of Tyrod Taylor there. This should be a pass, but it's not. Technically, it has to be a fail. But when it counted, when the starters were in, the Bills shut him out. That is under 10. So it is what it is. Garbage time points still count. So unfortunately, it's a fail, but it certainly doesn't feel like one. This was another game where you had a lot of highlights that would be fun to revisit, but we need to pick just one for our Mafia moment. Jamie G has sent in his Mafia moment, and he's going with hanging with Mr. Cooper, the Amari Cooper touchdown. Very nice play here. Nice to see him get involved, especially after he'd had one call back with the offensive pass interference. Josh Allen goes back to him. Very cool. Very nice to see him get involved. Hopefully, he's going to be doing his thing during the playoffs. So that's the Mafia moment from week 17, the Amari Cooper touchdown reception. Next up, we have the Mafia MVP, just like it sounds, the MVP of the game. Not really going to be a big surprise here that Josh Allen is taking this one home. Again, you can't really poke any holes in his performance here. Wasn't even helped out a ton by his wide receivers. Couple drops around there, especially notably by Keon Coleman, although he also had a couple good grabs trying to make up for it. And then you have all the records here, tying Thurman Thomas for the touchdown record, 5 straight seasons with 40 plus touchdowns. The Bills offense had a franchise record for most points in a season. And Josh did a lot of this while really only playing 3 quarters. So absolutely amazing. Very good stuff there. Josh Allen is very, very worthy of once again being the Mafia MVP, this time for week 17. Now we have to review the results from our Bills bets. Unfortunately, we recorded a little bit early in the week. We didn't have a ton on the menu, so we went fairly conservative. I took James Cook over 83.5 combo yards. That's rushing plus receiving yards. Unfortunately, he did not get there. Only had the 53 rushing yards, no reception, so no money for me. Jamie G went with Khalil Shakir over 43.5 receiving yards. You would have thought that one would be pretty easy. Unfortunately, did not get there. Just had 3 receptions for 25 yards on 6 targets. I thought the 6 targets would have been enough, just did not work out that way for Shakir, but hopefully he is going to be exceeding his numbers in the playoffs. And then we had one tripod, a 3-leg single game parlay. Unfortunately, we only hit one of the 3 legs. We had Bills to win the race to 25 points. That was a nice, easy win. Then we had the Bills over 13.5 first half points. It did not get there. We weren't planning on having the safety. That didn't make the math work out the way we wanted to. And then we had the Jets under 12.5 points. And of course, they got the 2 garbage time touchdowns to mess that one up for us. But we're still in the green overall on the season, up about 411 Bills bucks, being led by our tripod, still up 325 bucks on those. Jamie G's up about 274 bucks, while I am down about 188. So gonna have to turn it around. Hopefully, we're gonna make a deep playoff run, make a couple extra bucks. We also had a few drafting suggestions for you with our draft Joshes, because around here, Josh Allen is the only king for us. These were for the showdown contest for the Bills Jets game over on Draftkings. We said once again, favorite captain should be Josh Allen. That worked out pretty well if you went with him. So no diggity, no doubt. We said, hey, you could go back to the well with James Cook once again in a tournament. That didn't work. You were probably better off going back to the well with the Bills defense a captain this week. They did work out to probably be a great value play at 5,200. Unfortunately, we were trying to take shots on Ray Davis and or Ty Johnson. Neither of the backup running backs really did anything notable for you. And on the other side of the ball, we were really looking for a Breece Hall, maybe Braylon Allen, one of those Jets running backs to get it done. The guy you ended up really wanting was Tyrod Taylor, but you weren't realistically going to get him in there. So Garrett Wilson was probably the best guy on the other side of the ball to have. So that's what you were looking at. Kind of, you wanted Josh, you wanted the Bills defense, you wanted to get Cooper in there, get James Cook in there, probably Garrett Wilson on the other side, something like that. You would be pretty close to the optimal lineup. And now we get to do a fun thing. If you've ever seen the movie Major League, we stole this from there. We have our Mafia Mannequin in the movie Major League. They had a clothed mannequin, and every time they won a game, they took an article of clothing off. With the Mafia Mannequin, we started out with pretty much a naked guy. Every time the Bills win, we're putting something on him. He has gotten an assortment of accoutrements here because it has been a hell of a season. Amongst other things, he's got a Freddie Jackson jersey, a Zubaz cape, a chicken wing hat, the beard of Ryan Fitzmagic. He's got shades, a chain, some Josh Allen socks. He's got a pet ocelot named Babu, some Zubaz Labatt beer, a grill, a table, some wings. The one thing he doesn't have probably right now is he could use a little bit more variety in the beverage department. So we're going to go with a classic here. We're going to give him some nice Buffalo Trace bourbon here and the classic Buffalo Bills bowling ball. You don't have to drink it that way, but if you want to, we're not going to argue with you. That is it for the wrap up episode from week 17. Next up, we will be previewing the week 18 episode at the Patriots. Again, the Bills aren't going to be doing too much here. We know they're going to play Josh Allen to keep the streak going for the most part. Then it's going to be the backups in there, but I'm curious to see if Mitch Trubisky can pull that one out. Could be a good week to try to capitalize on some Bills bets, some Draftkings, some stuff like that. Have some fun with it. One more kind of stress-free week before we get to the playoffs, so we will be back for that. Thanks again for checking out the Mafia Minute presented by CSCAP Fantasy Football. Once again, you can find all of our content wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find us on social media at CSCAPFF and on the web at MafiaMinute.com. Thanks for remembering all that, and thank you for remembering the flaps. FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you've had fun, please make sure that you've hit the thumb. I am Magnum Mills. Jamie G is writing with us in spirit. He's saying go Bills. Where else would you rather be? All of that good stuff. And make sure you're here next time to hear him say it when we preview the Week 18 game at New England regular season finale. Holla at you, Bills fans. Go Bills.